Notice the book, Suicide: The Forever Decision, for those thinking about suicide and for those who know, love, and counsel them, by Paul Quinnett, Ph.D., is herewith made available in free electronic format for anyone in the world who wishes to read it or share it with others. Purpose: to make this book as widely available as possible and free to the public. General public license and right to use. Originally copyrighted and published in 1987, the electronic version of this best-selling book for suicidal people and their loved ones is being made free to anyone who wishes to read it anywhere in the world. The electronic rights to this book belong to the author, Paul Quinnett, and the current electronic publisher, the QPR Institute, a suicide prevention education and training organization located in Spokane, Washington, USA. The book is currently available in some foreign language editions. Note: anyone is permitted to copy and distribute verbatim copies of this license document and the book, but changing either one is not allowed. Preamble. The purpose of this general public license is explicitly made to ensure free access to this book by those who may need it or could benefit from it. This general public license is intended to guarantee your freedom to share the electronic version of this book with anyone and to further ensure your freedom to distribute copies to anyone you like. To protect your rights to distribute this book freely, we need to make restrictions that forbid anyone to deny you these rights or to ask you to surrender these rights. These restrictions translate to certain responsibilities for you if you distribute copies of this book or if you modify it. For example, if you distribute copies of this book to others, you must give the recipients all the rights that you have in this license so that, if they so choose, they may distribute the book to still others. You must make sure that those you give the book to also get a copy of this license. The precise terms and conditions for electronic copying and distribution are as follows. General Public License Terms and Conditions. 1. You may copy and distribute verbatim copies of the electronic version of this book as you receive it, provided that you conspicuously and appropriately publish on each copy the copyright notice and website of the QPR Institute, www.qprinstitute.com. If necessary, you may charge a fee for the physical act of transferring a copy, but you may not charge any reader of this book for the book itself. The copyright notice is as follows. Copyright Paul Quinnett, 1987. 2. You may not modify your copy of the book in any way. However, you may excerpt portions of the book and publish them in an electronic format, provided the source of the excerpt and access to the book is always linked to the excerpt, including the QPR Institute website. 3. You may copy, distribute, and translate the book freely into foreign languages, but only in an electronic format, and only for non-commercial distribution. 4. Should a publisher desire to produce the book in print format, said publisher should be referred to Crossroad Publishing Company, Incorporated, 481 8th Avenue, Suite 1550, New York, New York, 10001. 5. You may not sell, copy, modify, sublicense, or distribute the book except as expressly provided under this license. Any attempt otherwise to sell, copy, modify, sublicense, or distribute the book is void and will automatically terminate your rights under this license. However, parties who have received copies or rights from you under this license will not have their licenses terminated so long as such parties remain in full compliance. 6. You are not required to accept this license, since you have not signed it. However, nothing else grants you permission to modify or distribute the book or excerpts therefrom. Therefore, by distributing the book to others or any excerpt from the book, you indicate your acceptance of this license and all its terms and conditions for copying and distribution. 7. Each time you redistribute the book, the recipient automatically receives a license from the original licensor to copy and distribute the book subject to these terms and conditions. You may not impose any further restrictions on the recipient's exercise of the rights granted herein. You are not responsible for enforcing the terms of this license on any third party. What people say about this book. Excerpted from reviews on Amazon.com. Please note, the above license includes the right of the recipient to add reviews of the book here or elsewhere. Ingram. This is a frank, compassionate book written to those who contemplate suicide as a way out of their situations. The author issues an invitation to life, helping people accept the imperfections of their lives and opening eyes to the possibilities of love. Wonderful, May 2nd, 2001. Reviewer, a reader from Seattle, Washington. I've got a good, depressing 18 years of being severely depressed with a few dysthymic SP episodes thrown in for good measure. Being alive has often felt like purgatory may be worse, and suicide is an option, and it's one that I fight not quite on a daily basis, but very near. The thought of suicide is like my twin, if that makes sense. It's always there, a very comforting thought, but a thought that I'd really like to go away, which is why I picked up this book. I've only read a few chapters and I was comforted right away. It's so helpful to know that someone out there understands and is trying to give you a life rope. I consider this book life jacket and hope anyone in pain reads this. Invaluable, February 22nd, 2001. Reviewer, a reader from California. This is one of the most compassionate books for those who are suffering in pain due to mental disorders. I have been battling severe depression and suicidal thoughts for some time. The gentleness and care from the author allowed me to open my heart enough to be able to read this book to the end. It was comforting and yet realistic at the same time. When we roam in the darkens of suffering and pain, we tend to become blind and forget essential facts that may save our lives. I must admit that I have not been able to conquer my suicidal thoughts, but suicide, the forever decision, helps me fight my illness. The book stays by my bedside. Dr. Quinnett. Reading your book makes one feel that they are sitting in an office and listening to your words with comfort. I believe that this is due to your understanding and care for this illness. In the near future, I will be volunteering and participating in a research project on antidepressants. I look forward for future writings from you, not only for myself, but for many others who are fighting the beast. I thank you. Great book. January 1st, 2001. Reviewer, Janet Keplinger. See more about me, from Colorado. I work on an inpatient psychiatric unit, and every day we have patients who are on our unit with suicidal ideation. We use this book as mandatory reading for those patients. The feedback we receive has been great. We have yet to have anyone say they did not get anything out of it. Most of the patients have taken the book home with them. Staff have also read this book, and we all feel that it is a great book that presents suicide in a very compassionate, yet matter-of-fact manner. It has probably saved many lives. Thank you, Paul. A life-saving book everyone should read. March 20th, 2000. Reviewer, Carol Jackson from Canada. I have just finished reading this book and felt compelled to buy it. It offers hope to the hopeless and encouragement to those who are at their wits' end and trying to survive. I felt a very personal contact with the author and sensed that his genuine concern for those considering suicide was apparent. This book goes right to the point and addresses the issues in a clear, sensible way. It helped me so much that I feel the need to have it in my personal library. Reviewer, Chris from Texas. I read this book about 8 years ago and wondered if it was still in print. I was glad to see that it was. I hope that it can do for someone else what it did for me. It made me change my mind.